how much easier do you think it is, Coach, for a first year, a young quarterback to get better acclimated with the league versus maybe 10, 15 years ago? Or is it harder?
10, 15 years ago, that's good. I think it might be, I think these guys they have a lot more preparation in the passing game because the college game is so wide open. So I think you're seeing, the reps that these guys get. I mean, especially if you have a Texas high school quarterback, you got to count that into it because these guys play so much football, and particularly the passing game. So I think the players in the last 10, 20 years have more experience in the passing game than they did 20 years ago. Because 20 years ago you could get a quarterback out of college that has never been in a shotgun. And now it's 20 years later it's totally flipped. I mean, I've coached quarterbacks that have never been under center their whole life until they get to pro football. So, I think the passing game part of it, there's definitely more. They're more experienced. The defenses go in cycles just like offensive schemes. So, pressure today is a little different than maybe 10 years ago. You don't see as much combination pressure today as you did 5 years ago. So, I'm just thinking through all the challenges that the quarterbacks have. But, young players didn't have to play right away 10, 15 years ago. We're now, if you take a first-round pick, he's expected to potentially be on the field, week one. So it's a much younger league than it was 10 to 15 years ago. So all those things factor. That's a long answer.
Hey, well, that means we had a thought-provoking question. That's
Great
all that
question.
means.
That's right. Exactly. That's exactly what it was.
Mike McCarthy here every Friday on Shan RJ, the home of America's Team 105.3 The Fan. Last week we talked about Zeke's unselfishness, but Dak came out yesterday and said, look, I played on some good teams with some great people. This is by far the most unselfish group there is that he's been around. I'm not asking you to compare to your other teams, Coach, but do you get that same feel about this group, that there's an extra level of unselfishness so far to start off this year?
Definitely. For the start of the year, I mean, you could see, just on both sides of the ball, just the way, different players are playing in different packages, and you have to have that. That's what the coaching staff, does, and that's why we work the hours that we do here, is to have a diverse game plan to give us the best chance to win on Sunday, and that's giving our players, the right opportunities. So, utilizing these players the right way and just having a very healthy plan throughout multiple personnel groups has been beneficial, especially with all the injuries that we've had and the challenges here in the first couple of weeks. So with that, you need that type of mentality, and I think clearly the players are all on board with our approach, and we're off to a good start. We got young guys that are playing more than you would expected, coming out of training camp, and I think this will definitely benefit us in the long run. But at the end of the day, it's about doing everything we can to beat the Panthers, and and our guys get that. It just these veterans here want to win. So we're very young outside of our veteran group, but it's all about winning. And I think you got some individuals that have done very well for themselves, but you get to the point in the career that it's about getting that championship, because at the end of the day, that's really all that matters. That's why we're all doing this.
Trevon wins NFC Defensive Player of the Month. At what point do you try to start game planning with teams to go away from him? Or in the NFL, does it take much longer than this for other teams to believe that, hey, this is a guy, he's arrived, we should start staying away from him? How do you look at that in terms of teams game planning for Trevon based upon, whether they think he's actually real legit?
That's the beauty of the game plans, and that's the beauty of why you play the games, and that's what this is all about, the competition of it. And nobody's more competitive than Trevon, so I think he'll still be tested. He's in his second year. I think clearly he's going to see more double moves, and just because the way he's been locking people down. So that's the beauties of Sundays, and one thing about this league. You're always going to be challenged at some level, and he's still a young player, but boy, he's off to a great start.